What is up, guys, to another episode of What the X. This is What the X episode 59, believe it or not. I can't wait to hit episode 60. Thank you so much, everyone that's been following. I know I've been a little inconsistent as of late. Just a lot of life stuff going on, a competition in jiu-jitsu that I'm really excited for this weekend. But I did want to get an episode out as soon as I could, especially after coming from my Ireland trip that I'm going to be posting on the channel too. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. This is episode 59 of What the X. And without further ado, let's get to our first news story. It's not really a tweet on X, but it is the news headline on X because that's a new feature that they've been implementing that I do like because it kind of throws out the most trend-worthy things going on, or maybe that's just the algorithm, and we could have a whole debate about that. But anyways, without further ado, the Texas National Guard arrives in Chicago to support ICE raids amid state lawsuit. So on October 7, 2025, Texas National Guard troops deployed to the Chicago area to assist immigration and customs enforcement in raids and deportations authorized by none other than President Donald Trump and Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson filed a lawsuit alleging violations of the Posse Comitatus Act and state sovereignty. But a federal judge denied their emergency request to block the move. The deployment addresses immigration enforcement and urban crime concerns, including over 1,000 ICE arrests since early September, while sparking ongoing legal challenges and local opposition measures like ICE-free zones on city properties. And the illegal immigration narrative that's been there, I don't want to villainize any people that are just trying to flee from a situation that is just not good, and they're just trying to get a better opportunity. But I mean, so many legal immigrants went through the channels to do it right, so I feel like it's almost disrespectful to them. Again, I'm not saying that refugees is a status, right? Like, I don't want to be inhumane, and I don't want to dehumanize any of the illegal immigrants, that are just trying to live and survive like anyone else. But at the same time, I don't like the idea of, and it's mostly these sanctuary cities with these politicians in there, like Gavin Newsom, for example, and for example, also Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, and then for that matter, Mayor Wu of Boston, all these sanctuary cities and the funding that was going towards these kind of programs rather than American citizens first. Again, I'm not trying to dehumanize illegal immigrants here. I'm just saying that the priorities towards them over our own American citizens who are their constituents that they're supposed to represent isn't right, and it's if anything, it's taxation without representation. And again, if you want to further inform me on what I'm thinking and what I'm saying, please engage in the comments. I'm always here to have a conversation. But what's crazy to me too, guys, and I did learn this, is that the sanctuary cities, right, when they count in illegal immigrants, you have to count them in the total population. So even though they don't vote, their numbers counted towards congressional seats. So you could get more representation even though you don't have as many American citizens because of your illegal immigration population. Again, I think it's a dirty maneuver by these politicians to use these people as like political leverage and utilize them for their benefit in gaining seats and gaining representation in the federal government. But that, I feel like, is a playbook. That's in the playbook. Again, if you disagree with me, please give me like a solid argument. I'm always here to listen. But let's continue, because we do have some more. We have some more docs, some more tweets. So this is what Governor Gavin Newsom had to say in response to Abbott, also authorizing with Trump to send out the Texas National Guard. Gavin Newsom says, crime is out of control in Texas. Texas's homicide rate is 39% higher than California, but Greg Abbott is busy sending his sending his National Guard to Illinois for stunts. Stop invading other states and clean up your own damn mess, Greg. So that's Governor Newsom. Or Governor. He's the governor. No, Gavin Newsom, though, is going after Abbott because he don't like what he's doing there, sending out his National Guard. So he's got to throw a little edgy tweets out there because he's trying to get popular and try to do the Trump thing, which is still, in my opinion, yeah, I know it's cringe to maybe say it's cringe, but it's like, come on, I'm just going to say what I see, and it's just like unoriginal. It's a very unoriginal way to get back at somebody. It's like, dude, do something yourself. Like, you're such a no imagination, zero imagination, and just doing the same thing. I mean, I'm sorry you didn't get there first, bud. You're not Trump, okay? And that's cringe to say in itself. That you would even, that's a whole nother thing. Let's continue, guys, because there's another tweet here, and this one is for Greg Abbott. And he's responding to Governor Pritzker. So the Texas governor is beefing with the Illinois governor. And he had this to say, Greg Abbott had this to say: I fully authorized the president to call up 400 members of the Texas National Guard to ensure safety for federal officials. You can either fully enforce protection for federal employees or get out of the way and let Texas Guard do it. No guard can match the training, skill, and expertise of the Texas National Guard. They defend our country with pride. America must also know that Texas still has thousands of National Guard assisting with the border security. And he had this tweet from none other than Governor J.B. Pritzker, who he's clearly talking about. Pritzker says, this evening, President Trump is ordering 400 members of the Texas National Guard to deployment for Illinois, Oregon, and other locations within the United States. No officials from the federal government called me directly to discuss or coordinate. Okay, so just reading that, kind of messed up on Pritzker not getting communication. I don't know how real that is. I'm sure that I would probably try to talk to him first before I send out the National Guard. Trump is a showman, so he does maybe abuse his power in this instance. Again, I don't have proof of that. Maybe the streets are running wild in Chicago and I'm ignorant. But I do think that if this is true what Pritzker's saying, like maybe he's, not fully in the wrong here if you are not willing to communicate and talk to him about your plans. But again, there's been clearly strong opposition, so that's a very optimistic take on the whole thing. And then we have another one, and I think that this is because Pritzker didn't like Abbott coming at him, and you got Abbott having Governor Newsom coming after him. So all these governors are beefing on X, which is owned by Elon Musk, another story in itself. Crazy. All these high-level politicians, and they're beefing on a tech billionaires, trillionaires platform. And Governor J.B. Pritzker says, this you? And then he's got a link for Newsweek. And then Greg Abbott saying the picture of reality. And it says, leave our crime alone. And it's Pritzker, Newsom, and Houchel. I'm going to look up who Houchel is. I'm sorry, Houchel. I don't know who you are yet. And that's me being uninformed. But then they're all pointing at Trump. So Pritzker, I guess he has something. I wish I would have clicked into this link to know what his comeback was. But I feel like Pritzker, if you're going to respond, you should say something more than this. I don't know. I don't think that was a very planned out one because it just makes him get more exposure of that cartoon meme. But fair play. And then I just wanted to explain, guys, because Mayor Brandon Johnson and the Governor Pritzker, they're trying to invoke, they're trying to say that the Posse Comitatus Act should stop that the National Guard under Trump's authorization and Abbott's authorization has broken the Posse Comitatus Act by, I guess, maybe they see examples of them enforcing law that should be enforced by the local government. Because the Posse Comitatus Act, what it is, guys, it's when the National Guard is federalized under Title X. It becomes part of the U.S. military. So under the act, federal military forces, including the federalized guard, cannot perform law enforcement duties like arrest, searches, or crowd control unless authorized by law. So I guess that would include the ICE arrest is maybe the main one that they're trying to point out as a violation of that act. Exceptions that allow enforcement. The Insurrection Act. If invoked, this act allows federal troops to enforce laws during rebellion, insurrection, or when state authorities can't maintain order. It overrides posse comitatus, but must be justified by extreme conditions. And right now, I feel like that's why Trump is so into saying like these crazy things. Well, maybe they're not too crazy. I don't want to be walking down the streets by myself in a dangerous city or anything like that. But maybe there's some exaggerations and hyperbole to get his wishes done, his agenda taken care of. He's not a dumb guy. He has a way with words. He has a way with presenting himself. He's been doing it for years on a TV show called The Apprentice, and now he seems to be the master. And we are all on this roller coaster together. But so that's just crazy. So the Insurrection Act hasn't been officially invoked, guys. So he's just out there saying that we're authorizing these troops just to enforce immigration and do what needs to be done. And then Abbott's for it too. And then the other thing that would allow enforcement from the federal National Guard would be congressional authorization, which would be Congress passing laws allowing military involvement in specific scenarios. Examples given: counter-drug operations, disaster relief, or terrorism response. These are narrowly defined and usually involve support roles, not direct policing. So, yeah, that's just a little interesting, and I love my co-pilot. I'm just trying to learn all the time. And, guys, you gotta also be mindful that the AI isn't God. It doesn't have 100% accuracy all the time. So I fact check stuff too. And then if something is wrong that you caught me saying, please let me know. But just thinking about all this beefing, I did want to kind of get into something pretty crazy actually. And that is mainly the main focus, right, is the Texas National Guard. So I'm like, what's so special about the Texas National Guard? Why out of all the states is Trump like, yo, Greg Abbott, I need your federal guard? And the reason for that, guys, believe it or not, I asked co-pilot. I said, what makes the Texas Coast Guard so important, right? I think I have let me see if yeah, look at it. I said, is there something special about the Texas National Guard compared to other states' National Guard? And yes, the Texas National Guard stands out for its size, capabilities, and its close coordination with both state and federal missions, including, get this, border security, of course, they're right there, and special forces operations. So, of course, the ICE raids kind of stuff, it makes sense that Texas, the biggest border state there is, would be the most capable of handling this kind of stuff. And then and then this is another part of this. So what makes them so special, right? Let's get into it. Co-pilot, show me what's up. So the largest and most capable force, that's number one. Texas has the largest National Guard contingent in the U.S., with nearly 21,000 troops across its Army and air components. And guys, we'll get to number two. And I guess what number two is right now, but you'll see in a moment because it's interesting. It includes elite units like 2 companies of the 19th Special Forces Group, plus fighter and drone wings in the Air Guard. Dual structure, State Guard versus National Guard. Texas, get this, also maintains a Texas State Guard, a separate force that operates only under state authority and is not subject to federal deployment. The Texas National Guard, by contrast, can be activated by both the governor for state emergencies and the president for federal missions, which, they kind of teamed up there. Border security role. Texas frequently deploys its National Guard for border operations, such as Operation Lone Star, which involves surveillance, interdiction, and support for law enforcement. These missions are often state-funded and state-directed, giving Texas more autonomy than other states in how it uses its guard. So that's pretty wild. Political willingness to deploy. Governor Greg Abbott has been proactive in sending Texas National Guard troops to other states, including Illinois, and Oregon, in coordination with federal efforts to protect federal officials. This has sparked controversy and legal challenges, especially when done without the receiving state's consent. So that's all about state sovereignty. You know, that's kind of scary. The united we stand, divided we fall type mentality, kind of not really being heard there when we have these governors of representing their states, we would think, doing this kind of stuff. But what was crazy, right? Yeah, they're number one. But guys, who is number two? Who is number two? And if you guessed California, you're absolutely right. California ranks as the second most powerful state National Guard behind Texas based on troop size, elite units, and operational capabilities. Why California comes in second. Troop strength. California's National Guard includes nearly 18,000 troops. Just behind Texas's 21,000. So really pretty close. Special Forces. Like Texas, California hosts units from the 19th Special Forces Group, including Green Berets trained for high-risk missions. Air power. California's Air National Guard includes fighter wings and drone units, giving it strong aerial capabilities. And it's a strategic location with major military bases in proximity to the Pacific. California plays a key role in national defense and disaster response. So we can't ever downplay how cool like California is as a state, even with all like the policies and things that you might not agree with. And I don't live there and I don't know anything about California personally, but just the stories of like how hard it is to live there and things like that, I feel like things could definitely be better. And I'm not saying things couldn't be better in Texas either. I think every state could have improvements and be better. We should always strive for improvements and bettering ourselves rather than tearing each other down. That's kind of the main message that I would, if I could sit down with Newsom, Pritzker, and oh God, who's the other guy? Abbott. Yeah, sorry Abbott. If I could get with Abbott, Pritzker, and Newsom, I'd say, guys, hug it out. And Trump, have all these guys. That's what I would do if I was Trump. But Trump has his own game. You know, who am I to tell Trump what to do? Clearly, he's the president, and he's in a way higher spot. So, but that'd be me. You know, I would want people to come together, and if we came together, we could build together and improve rather, like I said, than tear each other down, which I feel like is what we're getting here. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode of What the X. And sorry, I just hit the mic. That's what that was. And really appreciate you guys. So thank you so much. This has been another episode of What the X. If you like that clip, feel free to click on this clip or even this clip. And then, hey, don't forget about that clip over here. Thanks, guys.